Using rear-wheel drive and 8-cylinder power, the M45 joined Infiniti's lineup, offering buyers not only luxury, but also a bit of sportiness to go with it. Utilizing components from the Q45, the M45 filled a gap between that particular car and the lower-priced offerings from Infiniti. In this episode, we're going to take a closer look at the Infiniti M45 and how it offered luxury and a lot more power than its competitors while being less expensive. So grab a root beer, kick back, and let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Infiniti was initially launched with just two cars, the Q45 and the M30. The Q45 served as the flagship. The M30, for the time being, was the entry-level car. It would retain this entry-level position until the arrival of the Nissan Primera-based G20. The Q45 was a variant of the Japanese domestic market Nissan President. The M30, while new for North America, was nothing more than a rebadged variant of the Japanese domestic market F31 Nissan Leopard. Being a variant of the second-generation Nissan Leopard, which had been available for Japanese customers since the mid-1980s, the M30 was basically already several years old by the time it made its debut in North America. After a relatively short run, 1992 would be the final model year for the M30, which was really more of a placeholder, a car to be sold alongside the Q45 until the G20 as well as the next-generation Leopard arrived. The next-generation JDM Y32 Leopard would make its debut in the North American market as the Infiniti J30. With the M gone, by 1993, the Infiniti lineup consisted of the flagship Q45, G20, as well as the J30. Let's take a look at the Japanese domestic market and a few of the cars Nissan offered its customers in that particular region, and how the Infiniti M would eventually make a comeback in the North American market. For the Japanese domestic market, Nissan offered a wide range of vehicles for its customers. Two sedans part of that wide range were the Cedric and the Gloria. These cars have an extensive history, but we will start with the Y32, which entered production in summer 1991. The Cedric had a market reputation appealing to an older demographic, while its sister car, the Gloria, had a more performance-oriented reputation and thus aimed at younger buyers. Following the Y32 June 1991 launch, the SEMA was redesigned and introduced in August 1991. The rear-wheel drive Gloria and Cedric did not offer anything beyond 6 cylinders, so buyers in need of 8-cylinder power had to step up to the SEMA. Whereas the two initial generations of the SEMA were only limited to the Japanese domestic market, the third-generation SEMA will also be marketed to North American buyers, thus becoming the second-generation Infiniti Q45. 1999. Following the Y33 series, which made a 1995 debut, the new Y34 Gloria entered production in June 1999. For the Japanese domestic market, the four-door hardtop sedan offered V6 and inline-6 engines, turbocharged and naturally aspirated. Fast forward to 2002, the Infiniti M made its return to the North American market after a decade-long hiatus. The model was intended to fill an obvious gap between the company's Q45 and its less pricey cars. Nicknamed Infiniti's muscle car, the new M was sedan only, compared to the 1992 M, which came in coupe and convertible format. Although both generations were rear-wheel drive, the new M was now powered by an 8-cylinder engine. Although Japanese buyers did not have a V8 option for their Gloria sedan, American buyers benefited from 8-cylinder power, which was derived from the Q45 sedan. Speaking of the Q45, the new M sat between the V6 i35 and the Q45 within Infiniti's lineup. The new M also carried a base price, which was 10 grand less than the Q45 and cheaper than competitive V8 sedans from Lexus and Cadillac. Although the front-end styling wasn't quite as polarizing as a contemporary Q45, the new M did have unusual retro lines, and the silhouette was rather menacing. Let's keep in mind the sheet metal came straight off the Gloria sold in Japan. In the Japanese domestic market, styling taste, not to mention car names, can be a tad bit curious. That said, the overall appearance of the M45 was inherited from a design never intended to appeal to North American car buyers in the first place. One of the key selling points for the new M is what lurked under hood, and that was the Q45's engine, which cranked out 340 horsepower. Powering the rear wheels, the 4.5-liter engine moved the M45 with a sense of urgency, and the chassis was able to back up that power quite well. For performance-oriented buyers, that was a convincing reason to choose the Infiniti over cars in the same price range, such as the Acura 3.5 RL or the Lexus GS300. There was also the V8-powered Lincoln LS. However, the execs at Infiniti were keeping their fingers crossed in hopes of swaying prospective customers with the perception of superior reliability and build quality. When the M made its debut, there was also a bit of cannibalization from other models within the lineup. Although a Maxima in disguise, the i35 was powerful, reasonably well equipped, and had a strong reliability record and was overall a good deal. There was also the new G35, which demonstrated a more contemporary design, excellent driving dynamics, not to mention being more efficient. And since it served as Infiniti's new entry-level luxury sports sedan, it was also way less pricier than the M. And despite being entry-level, the G35 was not exactly a small car. For example, with a wheelbase stretching 112.2 inches, it was almost 5 inches longer than a contemporary 3 Series sedan, and almost a whopping 8 inches longer than an A4's wheelbase. Power was adequate with its smooth revving 3.5-liter V6. The new G35 proved to be a hit for Infiniti. On the flip side, the Infiniti division did not sell as many M45s as it had originally hoped to. The M45 sold at a rate of about 400 to 500 units a month. However, those sales added up to only a tick over 4,000 units during the first 10 months of 2004. The M45, after all, was a stopgap car, and a replacement model was right around the corner from the moment it went on sale. That said, before long, there was an all-new M45 with a new V6 powered variant, the M35. Marketed in Japan as the Nissan Fuga, the new M shared much of the FM platform used by the G35 and other Nissans, but 60% of its platform components were reported to be new. Overall, the new M was a significant improvement over the previous car. Once the Q45 was discontinued, the M was left as the biggest and most powerful sedan in Infiniti's lineup. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to go back and check out the 1990 Infiniti M30 episode to learn more about that particular car as well. Like similar vehicles from German and Japanese brands, E-Class, 5 Series, GS, and so forth, the M was a step up from entry level and a step down from top tier. However, its selling point was its performance to price ratio. With a relatively modest base price by luxury car standards and a naturally aspirated 4.5-liter V8 from the Q45 providing 340 horsepower, it was close in power output to performance sedans, like those from Mercedes-Benz AMG for example, but at a cost closer to their basic 6-cylinder models. The M45 had the power and performance of the Q45 flagship, as well as many of its luxury appointments, although wrapped in a lighter, less expensive package. The output of the M45's V8 was quite impressive, being one of the highest power ratings of any standard non-specialty engine on the market at the time. This generation M45 was available for only the 2003 and 2004 model years, in which a tick over 8,000 units were sold. Even when these were new, they were an uncommon sight on the road, thanks to the relatively slow sales. They are even more uncommon now, and if you hide the Infiniti badge, most people probably would not know what it is. Let us know if you owned or drove a 2003 or 2004 Infiniti M45. As always, thanks for coming out to the show, and we look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Until next time, this is your host Rob, and thanks for tuning in to Antique Tags.